Hello, everyone, and welcome to TFYLP, episode number 328, recorded April 19th, 2019. I am your host, Ron Land, aka Weird Wolf. Along with me this evening is Lucas Bockelman. And you're muted.
Hey.
And Christian Russell.
Hi.
We'll probably be joined very shortly by Jack Bruner. He had to step out for a few minutes, so he's running a little bit late. And I do want to apologize to people who this is kind of like dropping in unexpectedly on. We were going to pre-record today for tomorrow. Earlier this week I was kind of debating on whether or not to even do an episode this week, with it being a holiday weekend, most people wanting to spend time with their families. Tomorrow's going to be the only day that I'm actually working this week, so it's still going to be a normal day for me tomorrow. But I got to thinking, why not just go live today? We'll go live, and if people can't watch it till tomorrow, that's okay. So if you can watch it live today, great to have you along with us. So hopefully we will get a few people in here, even though it's kind of impromptu, as it were. So how have you guys been doing?
I'm just looking at the fact that Christian and I are both really large on the screen right now on YouTube, so there you go.
Yeah,
with just the two people, and then yours, it's
well, that's partially the Skype thing too. I'm not real crazy with the way Skype's been doing the local host video. It's kind of on a little floating window, and I can't just like pop it down into the corner with you guys. And whenever we have four people on, have four quadrants. It's either like three people have like really big video, and then my video is like really small, or much like this. And I'm covering part of somebody up, so I figured, well, since Christian's like the biggest person on the screen as far as closeness to the camera, it's covering up.
I can back up.
It's covering up more of your. Yeah, we were seeing a lot of
What's
your
up?
nose hairs and stuff.
Now I'm over here.
yeah. I was gonna say our nose hair is in high def. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's
Great for prosperity.
prosperity. Posterity.
So
Now I'm over here. What's up? I'll just be back here now.
Go ahead, Lucas. What were you getting ready to say?
Oh, I was going to say, we have a similar issue just kind of with the Skype on our show as well, that I try to get 4 video feeds because that's what looks the best. Whereas if I have 3, it's like kind of just slices of us, and yeah, like there's really nothing I can do.
It's really difficult when you're
it.
trying to review a toy, because you have this little slice and you got to like get it in frame, and there's just a little sliver of a camera. It's weird how that happens. I'm going to look into some alternate video thing. I don't know, is Google Hangouts even still working still? I
think it does. The only trouble is that I don't know if it goes directly to Facebook though.
Well, it doesn't have to. I mean, I use external software for that. I just need to be able to have a stable way of broadcasting. But
yeah, I mean, I've seen other YouTube shows that have done that. And I know the other thing is it only shows whoever's talking at the moment. Like it'll show the icons at the bottom. So that's the other thing too. So
I mean, whenever we started TFYLP as a YouTube video and everything, we originally used Google Hangouts until they did away with the stream straight to YouTube support, which I think that was like massively stupid on their end. But you can't really fault them. That's their service, so they gotta go with whatever I guess they want to support. So
yeah. I mean, I feel like it seems like it's an issue that shouldn't be an issue in this day and age. because I mean it's so popular now to have all these streaming services between, you know, I'm trying to think with like YouTube and what's Twitch and all that type of thing. But then the thing that's really hard is trying to actually stream to all these different places and to actually have like not have to have a computer that I know you had just bought a computer that's, you know, really high end or whatever to do it, right? But I mean, you would think somehow that you wouldn't have to do that now, that between the cloud and all that type of stuff, that there would be a way to be able to do it and not have to spend a lot of money to do it. But
right.
I mean, there's not a lot of great options, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird how, you know, it's like I could stream to Twitch or YouTube or maybe even Facebook. I haven't tried, but from my PlayStation 4, which this PC here will absolutely blow it away. But yet that thing is much lower end than what the PC that I'm on is, yet it streams fairly well on there. I've done it a couple times on my personal YouTube channel, and I'm surprised. I thought it would look worse than it does, but you know, as such. Well, without further ado, I do want to point out that we are live right now, and if you are watching either on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, you should be able to comment on either or, and they will pop up on the screen. Likewise there, and Jack Bruner's in here. Let me shrink my video a bit. There we go.
Jack made it.
Howdy how.
So if you're watching live, you can comment, interact with us, and I encourage that because you know, part of tonight's discussion is a roundtable discussion, and if we have any comments or questions or even suggestions from viewers who are watching live, we may discuss your topic tonight live. So if you have something you want us to talk about, then feel free. And Jack is in and out of video. I don't know why. There we go.
Oh, great.
No, he came back. But also check out our sponsors, CapturePrey.com. Great toys, great prices, great service. CapturePrey.com, where you can save even more with free domestic shipping on orders of $150 or more. And you also have the benefit of Stasis Pod, where you can buy now and ship later and save on your shipping at CapturePrey.com. Also,
Man,
Apparel. Go ahead.
Whoever named that must have been a really cool person.
Yeah. I think they were a redhead, too.
Watch dog.
Maybe.
Jack, what's going on with your video?
Your video is like
no, I switched.
coming
I just
and
switched
going.
webcams.
Okay. Also, check out Ripped Apparel. You can use the promo code.
You can't.
You can't now?
Nope.
It does not work.
Nope. It hasn't worked in about 6 months.
Actually, yes, it has. I got a payment
last week.
Well, that might be because they might have a better promotion going, too.
Okay.
You think?
No. They didn't.
Really?
I've tried to use it several times since December, and it does not work anymore.
Oh, it's weird because I got a payment for it just a couple weeks ago.
Cool. Well, good job.
Well, anyway.
Maybe
you can
Are
try.
you sure it's not you, Christian?
Our connection there is no longer there.
Really?
So I would say it's probably gone.
Yeah. Maybe.
We'll have to check it out.
It's one of those things that, you know, sooner
Give
or
it a
later.
whirl.
Yeah. Give it a whirl. But try the promo code TFYLP pod. You know, I don't know how much longer it'll last, if it's lasting it at all, but you can try it. Yes. We used to have a connection there, but we don't. So don't know. Anyway, still. It'd have been helpful if they'd sent out a message to everybody that was doing the co-promotion thing, saying that they're ending it, but they didn't.
But they did not.
They did not. So that's why we don't know. It's not because we're just goofs, you know. Yeah. And Jack, your video keeps going in and out still. You're just a JB.
I've always been. I still will. Hopefully this other one. Okay. Maybe?
All right, yes.
Oh, there you go.
So, with the holiday weekend, I want to ask you guys, do you have any favorite Transformer-related holiday, Easter holiday memories? Christian.
So on Easter Sunday, I think it's now been 5 years ago, was the very first time that I met Headmaster Don.
Wow.
hmm
That really awkward moment?
Yes,
Easter Sunday. What was the situation?
I met
This
him in
I'd
the
like to know,
parking
too.
lot. I met him in the parking lot of a Hardee's, over on the West Coast, Carl's Jr., in Archdale, North Carolina, to hand him an MP exhaust.
Sweet. And that's an awesome figure. You don't think so?
I sold it once. I rebought it, and I'm selling it again. So if you want, you can have it.
You know, out of all the Diaclone repaints, that's the one that I wish I hadn't sold because he's so pretty.
Well, you could rectify that right now. Drawn it so easy.
You know
someone who has one.
You know,
Man,
I'm tempted.
How convenient would that be?
I'm tempted.
Buy it. It's cheap.
Plastic crap here.
Anyway, yes, I met Headmaster Don in the parking lot of the Hardee's. My cat was in the car, not very happy about
His
it.
cat.
Probably because he sensed the animosity between him and Massey.
I don't know if Massey was there, but Don was late because he had to go in and get like actual food, and I was just trying to go home because the cat was in the car. And he was like, "Where are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm inside getting a burger." I was like, "All right, whatever." And that's how I met Headmaster Don. There's my special Easter TF memory. There you go.
I'm not sure if I could follow that up.
Do you have one?
Oh, I should have gone last. Sorry.
I actually don't have anything. That's why I said I don't think I could follow that up.
What about you, Lucas?
Yeah, actually, one of my few memories of getting a Transformer is for Easter, I got Blaster. And I don't even remember what year that was. I got the Blaster, and I believe he comes with Steeljaw, right? I remember.
Yes.
I remember I got him, and then I also got a couple of the other tapes. A couple of the other tape sets as well. So that was one of my treasured childhood toys, and one of my favorite G1 Transformers. Honestly, between Soundwave and Blaster, those are like, those are two of my favorite molds. So it's kind of. Getting that on Easter was really, just kind of a nice memory for me.
It's pretty great.
Awesome. I have one Easter memory that really stands out to me that, and it's kind of odd because it really wasn't like a really special occasion, outside of it being Easter, but back in, I believe it was 87. It pretty much had to be 87 because it was, I think, the last year as a kid that I lived in Kentucky, and at least part time, because we had been living in Florida, in South Florida, for several years, a big portion of the year, and then I'd come up, and my dad owned his own business, and he would do a few things regarding it. For a few months, and I would start the school year here, and then I would start the school year in Florida, and then I would end here, and we did that for about 4 years until we moved down there full time. But the Easter of 87, I believe, was the last one that we had here, and I remember walking into my bedroom, and it was whenever the memory so vivid. I got up, I went to the restroom, I came into the bedroom, and sitting on the bed was this giant Easter basket, and it was huge, filled with candy, and had all kinds of toys in it. And one of the toys in it was Terracon Blot. And that was the last piece that I needed to finish Abominus, which happens to be my favorite G1 combiner even to this day. But I finished Abominus that day, and I believe I got 2 Technobots in that one. I believe it was Lightspeed and Nose Cone. And so I got 3 Transformers in that one Easter basket. They were like, back to back. There might have been another one in there. I think I'm wanting to say there was a Throttlebot, but that was my fuzzy part of that memory, because Blot was like the main thing, because I finally finished that combiner, And at that time, the time frame, each one of those lines was only around for a few months to a year, and is on to the next wave or on to the next series. And but at that time, it seemed like it was, it had been forever since I started to collect the members of Abominus. But it was just one of those things that came along so quickly, and I'm like, hey, I finished this combiner. Usually I would be like near finishing a combiner, and like long after they're on the shelf, you're looking for stragglers that's still peg warming somewhere, and and that happened even back in the day, so
yeah, one thing I think that was really annoying back in the day, and this happened with several toy lines, is the fact that like they didn't really reissue a lot of the like main characters like they do now. And so I know a lot of us, complain or whatever about, oh, it's another Optimus Prime, it's another Bumblebee or whatever, right? But there's some kid that, some 7-year-old or whatever out there that is like really stoked because he can get Optimus Prime. Because I remember back in the day, like, and it must have been 80, is probably 86, 87. So I was like 6 or 7 years old at the time, and I couldn't get Optimus Prime. Like, they only had Ultra Magnus on the shelf. And I was like, well, Ultra Magnus is cool, but I really want Optimus Prime. And so, and I think He-Man was kind of a similar, I know on the Toys That Made Us, that they kind of covered that they kind of killed themselves because, they didn't re-release He-Man and Skeletor, with the kids
later years, it was really hard to find He-Man and Skeletor. And then they started coming out with the Battle Armor He-Man and all that stuff. It's like, it was either feast or famine with that. And, I can identify with that story a little bit too, because in '84, I was not able to get the original Optimus Prime. So in '86, whenever Ultra Magnus came along, by that time Prime was long gone off the shelves, and I got Ultra Magnus for Christmas. And well, since Optimus Prime died in the movies, he was the ghost Optimus Prime. I'd use the cab as my ghost Optimus Prime because I knew it was the same mold, just painted white. And that was my Optimus Prime until Power Master Optimus Prime came out. And that was the very first time I'd ever gotten a hold of an Optimus Prime. And I was so happy that they did that. Even though they brought him back in the cartoon, they didn't bring back the original toy. And I never understood that. I never understood that. So,
or why he wasn't a Power Master in the cartoon.
Yeah, well,
I guess
he was
off the air by then.
he was in the
Japan.
Season 4.
Well, yeah, no, he wasn't.
Season 4.
Yeah, he wasn't in Season 4 as a Power Master though.
Oh, Season 5. Sorry,
or whatever. The weird
that weird live action thing.
Oh, the cybernetic space cube.
Yeah.
When he interacted, what was that guy's name? Timmy?
Tommy Kennedy.
Tommy Kennedy. Yes.
Okay, so he was a Power Master, sort of, kind of, whatever.
Yeah, I remember whenever I got back into collecting, and I was looking into more and more of of the characters and trying to look up characters that I remembered. And I looked up Power Master Optimus Prime, and I would find animation cells or animation capture of a Power Master Optimus Prime. And at that time, I was unaware of the Japanese series for the most part. And I'm like, wait a minute, they got Power Master Optimus Prime in Japan? In the cartoon? This isn't fair.
Could have been the commercials.
No, it was actually I think it was it Master Force he was in? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though he was Jinrai, or God Jinrai over there, and wasn't really Optimus Prime, to me he was still Power Master Optimus Prime. Even though they got the better toy, too, over there, of that mold. I mean, he had the retractable fists and chrome, and I think, well, he had chrome over here, but the retractable fists, and had God Bomber, which was really awesome there, too. We never got that until the commemorative reissue, which was awesome.
Uh-huh.
So, did you guys ever get any of the commemorative reissues whenever they first hit back in the day?
I had 3 of them.
I did not, but I did find the Ultra Magnus on eBay. It was only just a couple years ago, so it was like well after the fact. But I do have one.
You weren't really old enough to collect whenever they were on the shelf, were you?
Wasn't it like 2003 to like 2005?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did see them in stores. I just never really had the connection to them as I am now because I am starting to build up a small G1 collection. Yay.
Well, the Walmart reissues are helping with that too, I would say.
Yeah. I almost picked up Warpath and Gears yesterday, but I'm kicking myself for leaving them there, so.
There's they got a ton of Warpath and Gears on the shelves at my Walmart now. Like, it must have just showed up the other day, and they're just clogged with them now.
Mine has 2 of each, but they're still got like Tailgate and Bumblebee left. So I'm just like, oh, that shows you that Bumblebee, even though no matter what era he's from, he's still going to be a shelf warmer.
Oh no, they reissued Bumblebee or re-released him in this wave.
He's on the new wave.
It's Bumblebee. They're going to release the crap out of that toy.
Yeah. Mr. Shelf Warmer.
Actually, no.
You know what's funny is I was going to say that Optimus Prime, like we've all complained about how he's $50, but he is consistently sold out at the Walmart over by me. Like, they keep getting them in and they keep selling them out.
Mine is the opposite. They keep getting them and they just can't sell them.
Mine hasn't moved the initial batch.
Wow.
Mine's got like, I think 8 or 10
now
still on the shelf.
My local Walmart doesn't carry the reissues at all, which I don't understand Walmart's distribution. It's just crazy. But the Walmart that I was in today, which is the next closest Walmart to me, about a month to 2 months ago, I want to say they had like 20 of those things. Now, today, they had 3 on the shelf. One of them's package was like really beat up. I mean, the toy was fine, but the package was really beat up, and the other 2 looked pretty good. But I'm like, I've got the 2002 New Year's reissue autographed by Peter Cullen. That's my sealed box one. And then I've got the commemorative series reissue that's open on display. I'm like, the only reason for me to buy it would be the box. Yeah. And I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm just, that's the only one of the reissues so far that I haven't really wanted. I got the Starscream, and I got the Hot Rod, the one with the backwards packaging. I want to get Soundwave. I want to get Soundwave. I missed out on Devastator. I'm lamenting that so much. I know somebody.
Not a good toy.
Not a good reissue.
I mean, it's a good reissue, I guess. I'm glad I didn't pay more for it because it's not a good toy.
Like you're saying, plastic quality, or what do you mean?
No, it's just. Okay, so I didn't have G1. I grew up on B stores where like stuff happened. You could like play with the toy and it would stand on its own, and then have Unicron Trilogy, same thing. Mm-hmm. Devastator's just it's very parts formery and fiddly, and it doesn't hold together. I think that's just how Devastator in general is.
Mine, it always held together rather well. It just
My KO does actually fairly well, but it somewhat stands on one leg.
I was gonna say I haven't really had any issues with the Devastators that I've owned. They've all pegged together well and held together fine. So I mean, he's a total brick. But that's
that's G1.
All the G1. I was gonna say that's all the G1 combiners are like that. So.
Yeah,
and
I think that's probably where I am on that.
If you're gonna complain about parts formers or whatever in G1, I mean,
it's just sorry.
Well, the thing is like back in the that wouldn't even be an issue. If people complaining about G1s being bricks and parts forming, we actually still have parts formers in modern Transformers too. Not as bad, but we still have them. I mean, look at the entire Prime Wars trilogy, the Combiner Wars. Really, the feet and hands, not really useful in any other mode. I mean, I know that they're supposedly
they're shields,
weapons,
right?
Well, some of them can be weapons. Some of them can be weapons, but then you have like the Computron gift set, which those fists can only really be fists, and those feet can only really be feet. So, it still exists.
I forgot it came with those.
Yeah, but
those hands and feet live on my Predicus, so I forgot they go Computron.
Well, the thing is that it wouldn't even be a factor today if Transformers toys hadn't progressed in their quality and in their design and engineering beyond the bricks that they were. I think the ball joints and all kinds of the butterfly joints that they came up with, the universal joints, it revolutionized the Transformers line. Whenever they started integrating.
I think some of the parts formers that we're talking about too. I know Night Wingham in the chat was talking about the Zeta combiners and how they're parts formers, but it almost makes them better to be that way, because I feel like some of the third-party combiners where they've tried to integrate all the parts have not held up well over the years.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm the least annoyed with how parts formery the chest portion of Kronos is, because you could almost form the whole deal without Silverbolt, which is kind of annoying. But
I've seen a picture of that.
It works because when you take Silverbolt out of it, where you take the individual members out of it, they're really great bots, they're really great jets. So I think it's an okay compromise. But as far as G1 Devastator goes, I was just really excited about it and was expecting something like revolutionary. And I didn't take my G1 grain of salt before.
I'm really biased. I'm really biased when it comes to G1 Devastator simply because my very first Transformer was Bone Crusher. And the whole concept of, hey, this little robot is part of a bigger robot. I love that play pattern. It was one thing that really endeared me to the Transformers brand back in the day. Beyond the fact that you got alien robots from outer space that become cars, trucks, airplanes, and guns and stuff. That's just, it really sold me. But the different play patterns within the Transformers brand, they didn't need to have like the electronics and the pullback gimmicks, even though some of them, like the Throttlebots, had the pullback gimmicks and the jump starters and stuff. They didn't need to have gimmicks. It was just the different kinds of play patterns. Like the combiners, the headmasters. It was something that seemed, for lack of a better term, natural within the brand. They didn't need this like super gimmicky flip up or auto transform thing that may or may not wear out. And a good example of something wearing out would be the Sparkabots and the Firecons and the Monster Bots. Good luck finding a vintage one that has a good spark in it still. You know, I know that you can replace the flint. It's a little deal, but you know, they didn't really need that gimmick. It was really cool. I think the ones that naturally had a different play pattern, but still had that transforming gimmick. That's one of the things that endeared me with Devastator, and then the later combiners. I've always loved the combiners because of that play pattern. You know, you had this subgroup. They didn't need the other members of their faction. You know, they were their own separate little group in and of themselves, and they could interact with one another. And, you know, the Scramble City aspect of it is like, you really wanted, you know, and I even had to do this back in the day, you know, like alluding back to what I was saying before. You know, if I couldn't find a certain bot, then I would have to use other members of other teams that I had that I didn't complete. Like back in the day when I was a kid, the only Protectobots I had was Groove and Streetwise, and that's the only Protectobots I had. And then I had Skydive and I had Skydive and Fireflight and Slingshot from the aerial bots and Silverbolt. So I would use one of the Protectobots to finish off my Superion for years and years and years.
I'm the same.
So I love the Scramble City aspect of it. But as far as Devastator not being a great toy, I can understand why you would say that, but I also understand you were raised with a different level of engineering than what we had. You know, I think back whenever G1 was out, you know, it was still a new concept, relatively, robots that turned into vehicles and everything, and they really didn't start pushing outside of that box of well, they have to be posable too. That really wasn't even an option. It wasn't a good fun toy. And as kids, as a young kid, I found the Constructicons extremely fun to play with, even though they didn't have elbows and ankle rockers and heads that could turn left and right and do the Pat Lee I got a poop pose. You know, it just it couldn't do the Macarena. You know,
Yeah.
They didn't have to, because my imagination filled in those gaps. And one thing, if I had to knock modern Transformers, is it robs a little bit. I mean, it doesn't. I'm not saying that it completely robs the children of their imagination, but I think a small aspect of imagination is what was so magical about the original Transformers, is because they didn't have to have really have elbows and look at Broadside. He had elbows, but his legs were fused. They were straight. You know, they used my imagination, and he was a freaking fun toy.
I don't know, man.
You know,
the imagination that your generation used let people think that MP1 was a reissue of the same Optimus Prime that people had when they were a kid.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's weird stuff. Weird stuff.
You know, I think the funny thing is that the Generations line, where I almost feel like it's more geared towards kids, because like Power of the Primes, for example, the little Prime Masters or whatever that they issued, right? Like, I don't know. I think a lot of people, it didn't go over well with like adult collectors, right? But my kid thought it was the coolest thing ever, and he made me read off the deca or the descriptions of like all of the each one's like what the little powers do, and like if I put, you know, this Prime Master in you know, Grimlock or whatever, like in the Grimlock Volcanicus or whatever, that like it powers them up like this and it gives them these powers and whatever, and he thought it was just the coolest thing. And I wish, like, you know, that they actually had a cartoon with all of this stuff. And I think that they're supposed to be releasing another one here coming up with Siege, right? Is it next year?
It's a Netflix series, yeah.
Yeah, so I really hope that that's successful, because I don't know. Like, I feel like the Cyberverse, like, I think the cartoon's decent, but the toys are junk. But then we're actually getting pretty good toys that I want to give my kids, that my kids actually like, with the generation stuff, and we don't actually have media that the kids can watch.
Outside of comic books, yeah. I mean, and not every child is into the comic book scene, Fortunately, whenever I was a kid, I was into both. I preferred the cartoon, but I was into both. But and that's one of the things you touched on, Lucas, that I absolutely love about like the Titan Wars trilogy, is that it added back in another sense of that magical imagination. Like the Prime Masters, they didn't really do anything. They just basically folded up into little boxes, and you could put them inside of different figures. But the play pattern, as it were, they stated how this character affects this character or these characters in this way. So you had to imagine that if you were playing with them, and I love that. It encourages children to have the imagination with what they've got, and I love that. Well, somebody rang our doorbell. That's weird. I was not expecting that.
There you go.
Nightwing says, "Kick Christian off. He is a child."
Wow.
Did you see the comment I had below that though?
But acting like a child is fun. That's how I try to operate daily.
I think the main thing is he's probably a little salty from you crapping on G1 there, Christian. So
G1's
that's not
fine. The toys are not very good compared to modern toys, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I can say that Devastator really cured my itch forever of trying to get a vintage Raven. Because that's going to be an expensive toy that I will not enjoy.
But yet you want it.
I'm good.
Why?
I did want it because I like train robots.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Jason
But
Tate
Zeta's gonna take care of it.
Jason Tate is watching us on his smart TV right now. So hopefully
Thanks,
we look great. Yeah.
Can see each bead of sweat on my face.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty excited about that. Like, my face is probably huge on this TV there. So, it's like, get the...
Show people your boogers. There it is. Notice he goes like that.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah. And Jack is like very backlit, so...
I know. My other webcam didn't want to work, so I just said, screw it.
So, even though we've kind of done away with Ouch My Wallet on the main show, and we're still working on getting that formula together, we're not doing away with Ouch My Wallet entirely. It's going to be spun off into something else. But as you notice, we didn't do an Ouch My Wallet at the top of the show, simply because it takes up so much of the episode, and we want to focus. We want the main TFYLP podcast to be a topical-driven show, and whenever you tune in, we want to give you at least an hour of, or 45 minutes to an hour of discussion on a certain topic. And if we take up a good portion of the show just talking about what we got this week and everything, then by the time we get to the portion that everybody's waiting for, some people it turns some people off. So we're not totally doing away with Ouch My Wallet. We're going to spin it off onto something else, and that'll be on our YouTube channel as well. Hopefully you guys, if you haven't been a member of our Patreon at patreon.com/TFYLP, and shame on you if you aren't, because you get extra TFYLP content if you are a member of the TFYLP Patreon supporters group. And this past week we did a live free episode of TFYLP After Hours to kind of give you an idea of what you like or what you would get if you became a member of our Patreon supporters. And if you want to go back and watch that after this episode's over, great. I just suggest that you eat some pepperoni pizza while you're watching the show.
But what if I have Supreme?
No, you must eat pepperoni pizza while you're watching the show.
Great, now I have to run an errand again.
Yeah, it has to be pepperoni pizza.
Get some delivery.
Yeah, not DiGiorno. You get some delivery. So we didn't do the ouch my wallet, but I do want to talk about some things that maybe we've gotten recently that are really important to us, sort of like an ouch my wallet. But let's pick one thing and just kind of focus in on it for a moment.
I'm suspicious of you.
Suspicious? Why are you suspicious of little old me?
You just said we're not doing ouch, and now you're doing ouch.
No,
Confused.
no, we're not
doing
ouch.
it, but we're technically doing it.
No,
Mm.
we're not going to talk about everything we got like this week.
Oh, I've never ever done that.
Yes, we have. Not you.
I've
I
never
was
done
gonna
it.
say, Yeah.
Just pick one.
Yeah, we're picking on Dawn now because he's not here.
Oh, that's true. He's the one who does it.
No, and not just him.
I just pick one thing and say, "Hey, I got this thing."
Lucas,
Yeah.
like me?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, the bad thing is I don't even think I feature everything that I get on the show too, which is
I try
bad.
not
I don't know. I'm really bad about, I don't know. I'm constantly buying and selling stuff, and I was gonna say I guess that I'll run the one thing that I got is I've gotten pretty much got back into Masterpiece and decided to buy all of season 1. So there's that. So
I got Roxy.
so I guess that's my one thing is that I decided that I had a hole in my collection, so I decided to get back. But I'm only
Hey, you want a
doing
blue streak?
no. I've got a blue streak already. I'm good.
No.
Thanks. We could do Christian's hour of him trying to sell his stuff.
Jack, you want a blue streak?
Let me get back to you.
All right.
I'll let you know after Vegas.
Which blue streak is this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, which one are you talking about?
The Takara one?
Well, like the original or the blue streak or
No, the
silver
original one.
streak?
Oh, never mind. I already got that one. He's right up there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was actually distracted a little bit. I was fixing the YouTube comments. They were not refreshing. But now that I got that fixed.
But the one
Hey, you
thing I
want a
will
Loud Pedal?
say, Loud Pedal's a really cool one too.
You know,
It's
I
cool. You
had
could
that
add
one
it to
on
your collection.
order, but I wound up selling it before I even opened it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Now
refer
could be the
to.
time.
I'm gonna refer to Transformers for Life. His comment. Any of you guys had the PlayStation Optimus and Genesis Megatron? Why, yes, I do. I have
I've
taken them out
never-
though, but yeah.
I've never actually
Weird
gotten
flex,
those.
but okay.
I'm curious what you think about them once you take them out.
Is that like your recent purchases?
No, I was just. You just asked if anybody had them. I'm like, yeah, I might as well show them since they're right here. But no, I actually like them. My dad was a huge Genesis fan, and obviously I'm a PlayStation guy because all of these.
That's
These
your
are all my
generation.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the main reason why I got them, but not my recent purchase.
So, but yeah, I will say, when I got back into Masterpiece, I got the MP Plus versions, the ones that are more cartoon accurate, and I actually like them quite a bit more. Like, I really like the paint jobs on Prowl and Wheeljack and Sideswipe. So I had Anna bring over hers to compare, and I definitely like the new ones, but I didn't think I was going to like them better. But I do. So.
I'm getting Blue Streak Plus because I got Wheeljack Plus.
You need to get the Prowl too.
Nah, I'm okay with my old Prowl.
The original Prowl.
Yep.
The new one just wasn't different enough for me.
Yep.
I
And
like
same
my
with Sideswipe. I bought Sideswipe and I had him for months. I never took him out of the box and had to sell him at a loss because no one wanted him.
Yeah. I like the way some of them look, but like I said, if I already have the character and I'm happy with the said character, I don't see the point in replacing them. And that's my whole argument for the MP44. Yes, it's a completely different toy and completely different aesthetic, but
what's wrong with 10?
Yeah, what's wrong with 10? And that's why I'm happy I went the third party route and got the cheaper Light of Freedom. I still get the joy of an animation accurate Optimus Prime, but it's not really replacing my MP10. I had that fleeting thought. Well, now that I got this, I'll sell my MP10, and I got my MP10 down, and I'm like, no, I still freaking love this toy. Yeah, sure, it can't do that jump up in the air pose like from the '86 movie, but does it have to? It alludes back to what I said earlier about G1 toys. It doesn't have to have all those bells and whistles to be perfect. And now your cat's going to show us her ass again.
No, she's
Yeah.
She's
I mean, I think going back to
there we go.
Yeah,
Just what? No,
she winked at us.
MP10 is just such a good toy. It is, even though it's a masterpiece, it's just a fantastic figure to fiddle with and mess with and transform back and forth. And I think that's one thing that's kind of tough with, some of the newer ones, like MP36. It's like, well, it's not a one you're just going to fiddle with and transform back and forth. It's like, it's going to take you half an hour to transform it.
Well, there's a difference between like a fiddle former, something that you just pick up, mess with on your, a desk bot, I guess is a better term.
Right.
Something that you pick up and mess with and put it back down. I like the Masterpiece because they are beautiful toys. They're great display pieces. They're great conversation pieces, and they transform. If you've got time to sit, it's like me, I'll sit down and I'll watch like Monday Night Raw, and I'll come and grab a Masterpiece once in a while, and I'll sit and transform it during the show, while I'm watching the show, and that's the way it entertains me in that aspect. Is it something that I get down like once a week, once in a while? Not really. Especially MP36, I think I've transformed it twice since I've had it. But I'm happy with the way it is. It's the Megatron I always wanted. But to answer your question, Christian, I wasn't really trying to do ouch my wallet. I was trying to segue. But hey,
you're trying to flex?
No,
okay,
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to flex. I'm trying to. Since this toy has not yet hit market, I was trying to answer questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Flex.
Hey, you had your opportunity.
To what?
Hey, we'll talk about that off air.
This does not sound good at all.
Jack,
No.
why are you always here when awkward things happen to me? I haven't been on the show with you like a year, and this still happens.
No. You had an offer, but anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Now you remember, huh?
I do.
Shame.
I'm happy with my decisions.
And that's fine. That's fine. So how can I be flexing if you had the same opportunity I had?
Doesn't mean you're flexing on me. You're flexing on everyone.
No, I'm trying to help. Help.
Sure, that's what they call it.
Help the promotion of this toy. It's a great toy.
Sure.
I am enjoying this toy way more than I thought I would.
What toy is it, Duran?
Okay. For the audio listeners, I am holding up the Ghostbusters Transformers crossover Ectotron, the Ecto one that becomes a Transformers robot. a lot of people were saying, "Oh, well, that's just a retool of the Combiner Wars Hotspot Onslaught mold." And well, yeah, it does use some of the engineering, but I don't get that impression whenever I'm transforming this toy. It does not feel like that toy. I mean, yeah, whenever I flip down the chest and rotate the arms around, that's about the only time that I'm like, hey, that's borrowed from that, that's brought over. Everything else feels completely new. The way the crap on the top of the car here comes off and becomes the proton pack for the robot mode is genius. This vehicle mode is freaking beautiful. I mean, this might as well be a masterpiece Ecto 1 as far as I'm concerned. So it's absolutely a wonderful toy, and I'm glad to see them doing this kind of stuff. A lot of people saying, I hope they do like a Back to the Future DeLorean next or something other. I really don't see it happening.
I want it now.
But
that would be so
but
amazing.
yeah,
Yes, please. I need it now.
I want it.
Yeah.
I would love to see some kind of crossovers like with Back to the Future. I would like to see a Knight Rider kit. And who knows, maybe we'd get an Optimus Prime deco like Goliath or something other. Oh, wait a minute, that'd just be Sleep Mode Optimus Prime. But anyway, but yeah, I would love to see more crossovers like that done in this fashion. It's not meant to be like the Star Wars stuff, where it turned in the X-Wing turned into Luke Skywalker or anything. I would have much preferred an X-Wing that turned into a robot that interacted with a little Luke Skywalker than it turned into Luke Skywalker. I think that's one of the things that did not endear to me with the Star Wars Transformers crossover. But I think we've talked about that before here on the show. The reason why I think Rick said that one of the reasons, like if they did that, let's say if they made a Death Star that turned into, say, Megatron or an Imperial shuttle that became Megatron, then George Lucas would have owned that character of sorts, because of the license and the way the licensing was, if I recall the way he said that. So I'm kind of glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, I still don't see why they can't do Transformers that are integrated with G.I. Joe or Mask, like one of the two. But
it's and he's also talked about that too. Rick has crossing over the properties. It's like, who would get that money? It's like Hasbro. It's
Right.
like, shut up and
Right.
take my money. This is what we want. But are the people that want that stuff a good majority of people, or is it just a small niche of us?
yeah, you're probably right. And so I mean, I do think that probably doing like the Ghostbusters, like this is like the perfect thing.
Yeah.
Because you're not expecting to have a full line of these types of figures. So, but if they could do a few other ones, like do like a Knight Rider, like a kit or something,
Airwolf.
do even do some of those kind of different
You
properties.
do a Herbie deco of Bumblebee.
Yes, honestly.
I would buy, but then he would look like
Definitely
Bug Bite. So to each his
Okay.
own. And yeah,
I'll take a Bug Bite over a Bumblebee, actually. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah.
I mean, I just see so many possibilities in this line, and this thing here is awesome. It's fun to transform. It's intuitive. I didn't even need. I mean, since this is an early pre-release, I didn't get instructions with it, so I will say that the blue hose here is a little bit confusing. With no instructions, you don't know what to do with it. You have to mess around with it and figure it out. But it's like I had to use some of the promotional pics for reference. I looked at it, I'm like, okay, it looks like it's coming around the back there. Yeah. So that's how I figured out what to do with it. But as far as the transformation goes, I just based it on what I knew from the Combiner Wars Hotspot and and went from there. And it's really simple. It's even got like this step here. This really doesn't do anything. You don't need to even do that step. So I guess that's a vestigial thing that's left over from Combiner Wars. But
So how figure or is the figure pretty solid? Like, is there any hollow bits?
It's got some hollow bits. Like the inside of the thighs, or the upper leg and everything is hollow. But it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I wish they would go back to having the hollowness on the back of the robot, because who displays their stuff from the back? I would like stuff that. You're weird. I would like stuff that looks good from the front and good from the side. If you have something from the side, you're not looking at hollowness on the inside of the leg and on the inside of the arm. I don't mind if, like, the inside of the arm, there's a hollow bit inside the wrist where the fist folds in. That's fine. But if you have hollowness just for hollowness sake, to save money on the mold or what have you, put it on the back of the damn figure. They used to do that. Why they changed that, I don't get it.
Because they stupid.
Well, no. I mean, there has to be a reason, a logical reason, and I can't for the life of me figure it out.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That's not a logical reason.
For me, it is maybe. I don't know.
But what other crossover items do you think would sell well, or would you love to see? They may not necessarily sell well. Like, we'd love to see G.I. Joe versus Transformers crossovers, but will they sell? Especially now that G.I. Joe is essentially a dead property, I guess.
That's a good question. The one I've been, for some reason, my mind is with all these Marvel movies coming out, especially the MCU. I just want to see the Transformers in the MCU, if possible. Because, I mean, they did have the Transformers Marvel comics back in the 80s, so maybe? I don't know. Just kind of base it off the designs from Bumblebee, redo Bumblebee and Optimus. I just pretty much straight re-release them and then make new designs out of other characters.
Lucas?
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I think that the biggest thing would be what I was going to say, the G.I. Joe or Mask. Like, those would be the two biggest ones I would personally
I could see them
want.
actually doing Mask, since they've tried to revive that that property here recently, as it were.
Yeah, and I think that it would actually work with the smaller figures. Like, I think that people would probably complain if it was G.I. Joe and the figures were tiny, but like if you did, or even Micronauts or something like that, where you did that. I don't care as much about Micronauts as I do about Mask, but I actually think that would sell pretty well to the collector community, because I know a lot of the people, like I see a lot of people that collect Mask and Transformers both. So I actually think that would probably work pretty well. But I think alternately, like if you actually want to sell product to people, like I think actually doing like a DC line, I think would work if you did like the Batmobile or something like that. It's a Transformer. I think that would be pretty cool.
And would you prefer to see them done in this vein, where it's a standalone character, or would you like to see, say, the Batmobile turn into Batman? What did you prefer?
Oh no, it's a complete standalone character. And honestly, I think that, like, if you're thinking about it, like Batman, I could see him making a robot that happens to be a Batmobile, like, because that would probably work. Like, that would work in the comics or whatever, for him to have a robot that helps him fight, like, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So
yeah. What about you, Christian?
Probably just Back to the Future. Although I can't say that I wouldn't enjoy them trying a My Little Pony Transformers line.
Here we go back to mock kick again.
You know what? You
we paint
laugh,
mock
but
kick all the
man,
time. I
Yeah.
think it would work.
Have flutter kick or mock shy. It's like.
Yeah, it'd be great.
I am
I think people
surprised
would
that
buy the
has
crap
never.
out of them.
I'm surprised that never happened as like a BotCon exclusive or something other.
Look, I can't say I would buy them, but I bet they would sell really well.
I could see a
you would totally
Dairytron
buy them.
exclusive.
You would totally buy them. You would.
I might bot bots. I think that's as far as I'm going.
you say that, Christian, and then they release this, your My Little Pony line, and you'll be all in. Like 200 ponies later.
Basic, since this mold here is actually based upon the Combiner Wars Hotspot and Onslaught mold. So basically what they did is they took existing engineering and some existing tooling to make this character, to make this toy. So that saved them a little bit of money making that. I'm wondering how awesome it would be. And this maybe it's just me. Maybe you guys aren't really familiar with it, but using another Takara mold, the Brave King Jader, use that mold. Google it if you haven't. King Jader. if you're not familiar with it, but King Jader, remold that into the Battlestar Galactica, the original Battlestar Galactica, because he turns into, even though he's a big brick, he turns into like a space cruiser, and he's like really big and long. I don't see a whole lot of retooling need to be done to make that. I would totally be on board for that.
We already have Vipers, so why not?
Yeah, slightly retool the Siege Starscream into some Colonial Vipers. Boom, done. Battlestar Galactica and Transformers crossover. Do it. I mean, you're looking at a easily over $100 toy now if you reissued the King Jader, redone as the Galactica, because that thing is flipping huge. Yeah, so I mean, we're talking Titan class. So
there you go, your next Titan class figure, King Jader.
Yeah, it's kind of a headmaster too.
We'll call him King Husker instead.
What would be the Cylons? Let's do some of the Cosmos. Yeah, do the Cosmoses up as some Cylon Raiders. I mean, you've got a whole line there, dude, and you got troop building too. Yeah, total win. Total win there. Total win. All right, guys. I think that'll wrap us up this week. You have any closing thoughts before we head out?
No.
Christian? Lucas?
Nope. All good.
No, I don't think so.
Who's Base's star?
Base star?
Base's star? Nightwing said?
Oh.
Battlestar B. Let me put it in the chat here.
Aw, man.
If I can type.
Nope.
King Jader mold from Brave. There.
Jader.
Jader.
Galactica or Galactica? Semicolon Actica.
Oh crap!
Wait for it. Actica.
Yeah.
Semicolon Actica.
Yeah. I told you I can't type today. Anyway, I apologize for us being on a day early and at a weird time.
Surprise.
But we were going to pre-record for tomorrow, as it were, and I thought, why not just go live? We have the interaction of the fans that are able to join us, and as it turns out, we had quite a number of people join us, and I want to thank everybody who commented on the video and interacted with us today. We will not be live tomorrow, obviously, but you can watch this episode if you haven't already. And if you haven't checked out the TFYLP After Hours that we did earlier this week, do that tomorrow instead. Or do it after this episode. Yeah. But remember...
Microcasters.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also, don't forget, on Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock Eastern, the Microcasters. So,
Microcasters.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know what the figure of subject will be this Tuesday?
I think it's these two guys.
I was gonna say the construct pots Bumblebee.
No, Jack. No.
I do not have the Jazz, but I will vote yes on the New Age Max. I love that freaking little toy. He is so fun.
It's back to the origins of Microcasters, where Anna and Lucas discuss Legends figures that Christian doesn't have, nor is he going to get.
Shame.
Do it.
Shame.
Do it.
Shame.
Can't do it.
Shame.
No,
Shame.
it's not happening.
Shame.
It's not happening. Never.
Just because you spend all your extra money on bots.
Yeah. I can't have bots and
What?
Legends.
Why don't they call them bot shots? Oh, wait a minute. That's a names are because they're tiny. Anyway, check out Microcasters, as Lucas said, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on our Facebook page. Check out TFYLP normally on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And also TFYLP After Hours. You get that if you are a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 a month. $1, less than the price of a candy
bag
bar.
of chips.
If you get a king size candy bar, it's cheaper than that, and you help us out, and you get extra TFYLP content. What's not?
We
to
are
love
not
about
as
that?
tasty though.
We're not as tasty. No, but we're prettier.
God. Okay. See ya.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time on TFYLP. Happy Easter to everybody who is off and celebrating this weekend. And enjoy the time with your friends and family and loved ones. We'll see you
Vegas,
next time.
baby. Woo!
Okay. We'll see you next time on TFYLP. Good night, everybody.
Thumbs.